Elder Pitch Football, we're outside Selhurst Park, just witnessed a 4-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur. Tough pill for the fans to swallow. Give us your instant reaction.
It was a tough one. I'm not going to lie, for a London derby, it was an entertaining game, entertaining football. Palace put up a good performance. As derbies are, it takes one mistake for the game to go one way. And unfortunately, today was one of them days where Spurs got a sloppy goal and more came through afterwards. But I'm not going to lie, I've got to big up Patrick Vieira, because out of all the managers coming out of Premiership football, he's doing a good job. And you know what? I think this is the doorway for him to either have a long career at Palace or open the door to another club. But Palace put in a good shift, and you know what? They nearly got a consolation goal. They could have pulled it back.
Is it the manner of the defeat you're more frustrated in than the defeat itself?
No, you know what? To be honest, I think it's a derby. Derbies always go this way. It takes one goal for the game to slip the other direction. And to be honest, in these games, you never seem to pull it back in either direction. So I think it takes that one goal to make it go either direction. It could have gone Palace direction because Spurs were sloppy in the first half. And as you've seen all season, Spurs are the comeback kings. But in this game, they couldn't come back.
Now, Spurs have been on terrible run of form. Is it a worry for you that they were going to bounce back at some point and someone was going to feel their wrath of Conte in one of these games?
To be honest, I feel your comment, and I agree with your comment, but I feel that on the back end of the World Cup, it's very close to call, because you've seen Chelsea drop points, you've seen Liverpool struggle, you've seen a lot of top clubs struggle at the moment. I don't know whether that's the World Cup blues or whatnot. To be honest, I think the players could have done with a 1 or 2 week break all around. But football is what it is. Money pays, they got to play.
Now, I've asked people this before, and I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Yeah, ask anything you want.
Is it frustrating with the reluctancy to change the system when you've got strikers sitting on the bench?
It is a bit for all clubs at the moment, especially Palace. You're seeing good players on the bench. Starting the star man like Saha, maybe should have had a rest. I don't know, but this rotation is needed. But it's a London derby, it's very tough to call. They always want to play their best players, but sometimes the best players don't always get you the results. There's always the dark horses that can step up and get you the results. So maybe some of the underdogs need to step up and show their mark and push forward and show what they can do.
Palace have got a fantastic academy. We've seen some top players come through over the years.
I've even gone down to the training ground just to see some of the talent in action. You know what I mean? So that's how deep.
Should they be giving some of these talent? Should they be playing some of these talent and elevating more youth players into the first team?
Most definitely, because from the talent I've seen on the bench, they've got an abundance, and the youth team and academy in Palace is looking. I just got to say that.
Now, talk to me about one of the strangest rivalries in football, the Eagles and the Seagulls. When I try to explain it to my friends up north, they don't quite understand the proximity and the closeness of the two clubs and the rivalry between the fans in particular. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I'm a Londoner, so I've seen the evolution of football. I've seen Palace go down, I've seen Brighton go down and come up. So I've seen them both, balance up and down. But now they're both up in the Premier League, top division. It's serious out here. I mean, it's serious. The levels of these players and the competition is good. But being honest, from me to you, Palace have the edge because they got the academy, they got the players, they got Vieira. You know what I mean? I used to love Vieira as a player, and look at what he's brought to the team as a manager. It's good football. So you know what I mean? I wish the club good things going forward, and him as a manager going forward. So hopefully we're going to see a good progression and good playing and moving forward. So,
now, for the first 6 months under Patrick Vieira, the place seemed buzzing. It seemed like it had that feel-good factor.
Yeah.
Has it dropped off a little bit? Are the fans a little bit less supportive of the manager at the moment?
To be honest, I think the buzz was more about who he was as a person, as me personally. I could be wrong, but that's just my personal opinion on that. So don't take that as the gospel truth. But to be honest, I don't think it has, because looking at what he's bringing to football, he's a good guy, he's bringing energy. Look at him as a player, he's a midfielder. He played in the middle of the pitch.
Box to box.
He knows that, box to box. He knows the forward and the back, left and right. So if anything, he's the perfect man that knows the pitch, left, right, forward and backwards. So I think going forward for Palace, he's a good man. Believe in him, trust in him, and most importantly, put money in him that can push the club forward.
If I could wave a magic wand and give you a realistic signing in January, what position or what name would you be happy and content to bring in?
personally, defence and maybe a midfielder, maybe a holding midfielder.
Yeah,
That could, like, you know, balance things out.
Decor's having to do a lot of work at the moment, isn't he?
Just that can hold back and let the players push forward and spread out and push forward.
I appreciate that. Held a pitch football. We're outside Selhurst Park. With me, I've bumped into the Deutschland contingent, the German Crystal Palace fans.
Yeah.
Fellas,
German members, German members.
Right,
it's took a long time to get you here, but you're here. It's fantastic to
Yeah.
have you here.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the game. Not the result you wanted today. What
not
did
at
you
all.
make of the game? Talk to me.
It was like the first half. It was great. Like it was a good match. It was even. Palace pushed the game, but just in the second half, they collapsed. It was like just Harry Kane. He it was his own game. So
These London derbies are always quite tense.
Yeah.
Is the manner of the defeat hurting you worse than the defeat itself? Say if you would have lost 1-0 rather than the four goals that have gone in.
obviously, yeah, because we've got a friend who's Tottenham
He's
fan,
a fucking Tottenham member.
and
And to be fucking honest, sorry, not fucking, but to
You
be
say
honest,
what you like.
To be honest, I nearly fucking smashed him. I nearly fucking smashed him because I was annoyed at all. I was fucking annoyed at all of these Tottenham fans over there to our left. And when they scored a goal, I was just fucking annoyed, and they just scored 4, so I was annoyed at all.
1-0 it would be okay, but 4-0 it was too harsh.
You understand when you've gone 1-0 down, Vieira's obviously tried to attack the game and get the game back, which is kind of played into Tottenham's hands a little bit with their system and the counter-attack. So it's a tough one to get right tactically.
I know.
Like, to be honest, we were so, is it so? Wir haben gesehen. Selbst gespielt.
Yeah.
We just saw the last
saw the
game
last
of
game of
Tottenham,
Tottenham,
yeah,
against
and they were quite bullshit. So we went here with much of how's it called, like
Optimism.
optimism
we
Yes.
thought,
to win the
they-
game.
We
Yes.
thought they beat them.
Yes.
I just bet
Tottenham
fucking
is a-
$20 on them, on Crystal Palace, to be honest. Yeah, now they lost, and I'm just kind of
We're
sad.
devastated. We're
I'm
devastated.
glad you mentioned the Aston Villa game. I too was at the Aston Villa game.
Yeah.
And it was probably the worst game of football I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So on the
Yeah.
back of that, you would have expected Crystal Palace to maybe roll
Yeah,
Tottenham Hotspur
yeah.
over today.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And we saw
How
that
you-
in the
how you-
first half, probably because they were quite pushing, but second half it just like.
to be honest, in the first half, they didn't even got a chance. Like,
Palace played well in the
Tottenham-
first half, didn't they?
Tottenham didn't even got a chance, so we expected the second half to be the half to score some goals, win the game. Yeah, now we defeated 4-0, and yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what to say.
It's a frustrating time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's frustrating when
At
these
all,
big
at all.
London derbies mean a lot to
Yeah,
the fans, don't
yeah.
they? Yeah, I get
for
that.
sure.
I completely get that. If you could change anything in January or bring in any realistic players or position, what would you do? What would you say to Patrick Vieira?
Probably a clinical striker.
A clinical striker.
A clinical striker. We have to get that clinical striker who has to get the goals for Palace.
Yeah, I hear that. I completely hear that. Held a pitch football. We're outside Selhurst Park. Just witnessed a 4-0 defeat for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur. Give us your initial reaction to the game. What did you make of it?
We played really well in the first half, but the second half came out and tried going for it, which we often get the second half win, but just left too much space at the back. Again, centre midfield run over again. We've only really got one centre midfielder capable of playing in the Prem, in Decore, and we need more. It's just most Prem teams have 4 or 5. We've got one. It's not good enough, and we're getting overrun in the midfield every single game. We've got a good team otherwise, and we can hurt other teams, but that's the problem.
There probably ain't a better time to play Tottenham at the moment with the form they're on. Was it a worry coming into this game that they were going to bounce back at some point?
Definitely, you know what they're like as well with Conte. They like teams coming onto them and pressing onto them, so the game suited them, especially in the second half when we come onto them. Probably too much, but we've got to do that at home, and we've been good at it recently. But today, just some individual mistakes at the back, too much space at the back behind the defensive line, too much space out wide at the back as well. We're defending very narrow today. We do it a lot, but they exploited it with the wing backs, and we just couldn't cope with that today.
Is it frustrating, the lack of, or maybe a reluctancy from the manager Patrick Vieira to change the system a little bit and maybe put Edouard on, who's sitting on the bench?
Definitely, I think there's obviously. I mean, Edouard didn't do great when he come on. He's hit and miss, but I mean, with Vieira, at least he changes things more than Roy. Roy used to sit back. You know, I'm getting to the point now where I don't know what's best. In that situation where we went 1-0 down, Roy would have just left it like that, 1-0. He'd have played very defensive and see if we could nick something. Fair enough to Vieira, we go out and try and get the goals back against a bigger team, but it's dangerous, and today it just didn't work at all. You know, I think he does make changes, Vieira. I mean, more than we're used to under Roy, but he doesn't have the options. We've got a good first 11, but there's no deeper options.
You mentioned the options. Palace in the past have been quite reluctant to spend in January. Do you think they should bring in some reinforcements in January to maybe push for that top 10 Europa League place?
I get what Parish is saying. It's a difficult market, and there's one pot of money. You know, if you spend in January, you've got less to spend in the summer when you're going to get a better deal. But the way things are going at the moment, you know, we need centre midfielders. Absolutely, we need 2 or 3. We just have no choice. He clearly doesn't trust Hughes. You know, we've got no choice in there off the bench, and Doucouré's doing 2-man's jobs every single week, and he can't go on like that. He's doing a good job, Doucouré, but he can't do 2-man's jobs every week.
How much have you missed Conor Gallagher this season from the form that he was in last year at Crystal Palace?
Yeah, definitely missed him. We need exactly his kind of profile in this month. You know, if it's not him, someone similar that can play that number 8 next to Eze and press. Without that, this season we've really struggled.
Now, I want to talk to you about one of the most bizarrest rivalries in football, the Eagles and the Seagulls. Can you tell me why there's so much dislike between the two sets of fans?
Well, back in the 80s, it was Mullery. Mullery threw the coins on the floor and he said, yeah, Palace fans, that's what you're worth. So, yeah, it all started then. I suppose it was easy for Palace fans to get down to the seaside and vice versa. So, and played quite a few FA Cup replays when you could play unlimited replays in the 80s. So, yeah.
People don't realise how close Brighton and Palace are.
It's
literally
like 25 miles.
There's a motorway and that's it.
It's just as close as United as Liverpool. It's just as close as United and Liverpool. So yeah.
Where will Palace end up this season? Where do you think they'll end up when everything's all said and done and all the games are played?
Probably mid-table. I don't think we go down. We're too good to go down, but we want to be. We're going to be mid-table every year, but we want to be positive and we want to be up the top end of that. I'd love to say Europa, but we're not going to get. Look, there's a top 7 now. Newcastle made it a top 7. That top 7 to break into to get Europa is basically impossible.
Brian Gill.
Now, I can't thank you enough for your time today. I know it's frustrating. These London derbies, you want to see the team do well, and I don't think it's the defeat. It's the manner in the defeat, I think, that's left a bit of a bad taste with the fans.
Yeah, but, you know, it's do you go after, when you go 1-0, 2-0 down, do you sit back and keep the score like that, or do you go chasing after it?
You've got to chase it. You've got to chase it.
Chasing after it. And you can't. Yeah, exactly. But we had a great first half, and if we went 1-0 down and sat back and protected, you know,
the commentator was right.
Everyone had been fuming at that, so we got to attack it and we got to go for it. So I like that mentality, but it just worked. It didn't work today.
Pitch football outside Crystal Palace suffered a bad defeat by Tottenham Hotspur today. Joanna, can you give me your immediate reaction to the game?
I can only say I'm bitterly disappointed and I'm not sure what's happened. And I'm in so much shock that I'm trying to find the right words to express how I feel.
It's been a tough one to digest. With the form that Tottenham Hotspur have come into this, you would be expecting Palace to really put up a fight today.
Well, they did in the first half. Towards the end of the first half, I thought all was going swimmingly.
Where's it gone wrong from a Crystal Palace point of view today?
Apparently, I'm wearing the wrong hat.
Is that not your lucky hat?
It's my new hat. I got it today. I've got my lucky socks on. But must have been, counterbalanced by the unlucky hat.
London derbies, it means a lot to the fans. Are you bitterly disappointed with the result today?
I am bitterly disappointed with the result today. Bitterly disappointed, but at least we won the children's penalty shootout.
Talk to me about Patrick Vieira. He's been like a godsend to the club since he's joined. These results, do they change your opinion of the man?
No, not at all.
Talk to me about Wilfried Zaha. Could you expected more from Wilf today?
I thought Wilf actually played quite well from what I saw, which was about a quarter of the match, because I was fetching the children to take on the pitch. So having missed some of it, the bits that I saw, apart from the Tottenham Hotspur goals, were actually quite impressive.
It's not so much the defeat, is it the manner of the defeat that sort of bothers you a little bit?
As I said at the beginning, I'm in so much shock to start off with that I haven't digested it yet.
No, I appreciate that. The London derbies, like we say, they mean a lot to the fans, and you expect the team to really come out and have a go, don't you?
Yes, I do. And I actually, in my capacity, look after the away supporters, and I have to say they were actually all brilliant on the way in. So,
Yeah, I love that.
Good luck to them, and they've no doubt had an absolutely fantastic time.
I've got to say, your attitude is commendable. It is. We sort of get used to it at Palace a little bit, so take the rough with the smooth. And thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time today. It's great to get you on the channel.
No, thank you very much.
Pitch football, we're outside Selhurst Park. Just witnessed a bad defeat for Crystal Palace. May I get your initial reaction to what we saw today?
I just think that's two home games in a row where we've just been abysmal. It's been hard to watch, especially because we started the season so well. I went into the season thinking that this is going to be our top 8, top 9, top 10 push. So the fact that we're sitting here is very disappointing, a little bit worried. Nothing to worry about yet, but this is the game where you think Tottenham are on their knees, you go win that game, because now looking at it, who we got? What, Newcastle next? Newcastle, Chelsea coming, United, Liverpool at home. It's not looking too good. So you just got to think Vieira needs to buck up his ideas, man. I think this Zaha and Ayew down the middle isn't working, man. Just do Edouard, play Zaha on the left, play Elise on the right, Eze in the 10, and I think bring on Hughes so then Hughes and Decore can play together, man.
Is it frustrating they're not playing a striker up top the way the team are playing and you're needing goals?
Absolutely. Because you're looking at it, if they're flying, then they're flying. Zaha ain't flying right now. Ayew, he scored last week, fair enough, but he can't hit a barn door normally. Yeah, you got to put on Edouard, he can do something. Put on Mateta, he's big and clumsy, he'll get busy, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll get busy, he'll do something, and this is why it's just so frustrating, man. So frustrating to watch, because you come out here on a Wednesday night, just want to see some good football. Like, there's always a way to lose, but 4-0, when that first half was actually not even too bad. The first half was decent, I thought. You could have had a goal, we could have done something in the first half, but it's how it goes sometimes, man.
It's not the defeat, it's the manner of the defeat that's bugging you.
It's the manner of the defeat, literally. Against Fulham as well, we were just toothless with them red cards, and you're looking at it. Some players were awful, we go 3-0 down, it's just pathetic. So I thought today there's going to be a bit of a bounce back, because obviously Bournemouth, I weren't there at Bournemouth, but I was hearing it was amazing, the good vibes, clean sheet away. That's what you want, you think you're going to be going into today feeling a bit positive, and they just let me down, bro. Like,
the thing is, Tottenham Hotspur have been such bad crest of form at the moment. If there was a time to play them, it would probably be today.
It would have been today. Like, I knew they would bounce back and maybe have a little something, but I just thought we would have had enough. Do you know what I mean? I thought we would have had enough. Like, our team is good, but when we play like that, people just take us for joke, do you know what I mean? And I just can't understand it. Tottenham are there for the taking, especially in the first half, man.
Let's talk a little bit about Patrick Vieira. When he initially come, first 6 months, it seemed like everyone was so buzzing. There was a hype around it. Has it dropped off a little bit with his maybe reluctance to change the system?
I think so a little bit. I think last season, there was probably, out of all the games he played, there's probably about 2 games where I thought he got it wrong. Only 2, so I'm thinking this season, I'd say there's about 8, 9 times he's got it wrong. And I'm talking either formation, subs, or lack of subs. He's got it wrong a lot of times this season. And I'm not the one to panic, but I'm looking at it thinking, things are going wrong, you're not making the correct change, or this guy's hot, keep him on the field, or this and that. You start to look at it and think, these are decisions that win or lose you games. Fair enough, Tottenham are top of the top, blah, 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 blah. When we go and play teams around our level, because 2 more losses and we drag right back down, 15th, 16th, and then it's going to be looking techie. So we just got to think about it, man. We got to think about it. So I'm looking at Vieira a bit funny, but I think I still have my trust in him. Do you know what I mean? I still got my trust in him.
While I've got you here, I want to talk about the most bizarrest rivalry in football, the Eagles and the Seagulls. Why do Crystal Palace fans and Brighton fans dislike each other so much?
Bruv, you know what? Yeah, my uncle, literally, as I just was born, my uncle was just like, Brighton, you don't talk to them, you don't go there, don't wear your Palace shirt when you go there. Then Brighton are scum. Do Do you know what I mean? The way I look at it, yeah, Brighton from here is about 25 minutes away. So they're more local to me. Playing Brighton is more than playing someone like Fulham for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When I try to explain it to people, the logistics of it, they don't believe me. It's that close. But it's really that close.
It's because there's a motorway separating us. They don't get it, man. But they ain't beating us in about 2,000 days. They ain't going to beat us this season, and that's all that matters, isn't it?
The club are usually quite reluctant to spend money in January. If you could wave a realistic wand, who would you bring in January? What would you do?
So what I'm looking at, and I was talking about it over there, we need a right back, we need at least another centre mid, and we need a number 9. Those are the main positions. So I don't know who's in the market right now. I would even take Jed Spence from Tottenham, because he ain't getting no game time, put him right back. Centre mid, I don't know, anyone that can do a box-to-box job. Then up top, wait, I ain't got no idea, but we're good at dipping into the Championship. Do you know what I mean? I'll definitely take someone from the Championship, do something. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's just, we need some players, man.
You're confident Crystal Palace will be all right this season? They're not going to get dragged into it?
We'll be all right. I'm disappointed that I feel like the top 10, that sort of Conference League push is probably done. But relegation, I don't think we'll get relegated, man. I think we'll be all right. We've got enough to do.
Love that. Held a pitch football. We're outside Selhurst Park. Just witnessed a bad result for Crystal Palace, losing to Tottenham in the London derby. Max, can I get your instant reaction to what we saw?
Very disappointing. I think Vieira doesn't change the system. I think his job needs to be we need to think about, actually, is he the right man to be in charge of the club? Because we stunk the place out against Forest, Fulham and now Spurs, and he hasn't changed the system throughout. So. Well, it's against Bournemouth, but they're not very good. So,
is it the manner in the defeat, the way you've lost today, rather than the defeat itself that's bothering you?
I think they played all right first half. I think they actually played all right. They had some good chances. I ruined one completely, but I think the second half things need to change, and I think it's disappointing. And I think it works against Bournemouth because they're not that great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But Patrick Vieira seemed like a breath of fresh air when he first joined the club. Do you think the wave of that initial success is starting to drop off a little bit?
I still like Vieira. I still think he's the right man to lead the club, but I think he needs to look at different systems. I don't see why he doesn't play a striker up front. I think if you got someone like Mateta and Edouard on the bench and you play an Ayew in your striker's position, we're not going to score any goals. He's scared of shooting the ball, and that's why it's not working. So,
what other than the striker system, is there anything you would change as a fan? Is there anything that's bugging you personally?
I think defence-wise needs improvement in January. I think the last time we signed a striker immediate on permanent was in January, so January 2018. So that's too long. We've got to make improvements. Hopefully the chairman can see that.
Crystal Palace are not known for signing players in January. Do you think they'll pull out the chequebook and bring someone in to help Patrick Vieira and the team?
Yeah, I think they've got to. Absolutely. Yeah.
Who would you bring in if you could wave a realistic magic wand?
I think Gallagher on the pitch would have buried a few chances in the first half. I think we want to see Gallagher back.
Yeah, it's been a big loss not having Gallagher. Last season he was influential to a lot of the way the team played. Can you see him coming back? Do you think that's a realistic option?
I can't see him coming back, and I can't see him actually being as good as he was, but he played so well for us last year to get in the starting lineup at Chelsea, and then if he can actually, that hasn't quite worked out for him, so if he can come back and replicate some of his form next year, then yeah, absolutely, I think it'll be.
Do you think there's too much pressure on the likes of Wilfried Zaha at the moment? Do you think you need them reinforcements to help him?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing how he should be playing at the moment, because I think he's very frustrating. You can see it. He's a hot-headed player, but yeah, he's frustrating to watch at the moment.
It must be frustrating as a Palace fan, the fact that you were doing so well, you seem to have some momentum and things have sort of took a turn for the worse in recent matches.
There'll be ups and downs. I still think Vieira's the right man to lead the team, but yeah, it's not working out at the moment. Certainly didn't work out tonight, as you saw.